Let's talk about graphing. So in the last tutorial, Mrs. Stratton showed you how to put your data into a data table, and she was even nice enough to condense the data down into this data table right here, right? Just our averages. And she popped up a nice graph. Well, let's show you how to make that graph. So in Google Sheets, once you have your data in a nice data table, the first thing you're going to do is highlight that data. So we highlight just the data we want to graph, and then on our top toolbar, there's an Insert Chart button. It's right here. It looks like a little bar graph. If that doesn't show up, sometimes it's in a drop-down menu over here if your screen is not showing enough real estate for it to pop up the button. Thankfully, mine is, so I'm going to go to Insert Chart and click Insert. Now notice this doesn't look like the nice bar graph Mrs. Stratton created, and that's because I have to tell it to make one. So a line graph doesn't do me much good right here, so I'm going to go in and pick column. That's just Google Sheets name for a bar graph. Column graph, great. And now I can go in and customize my settings on that graph. So if I go to Customize, the first thing I want to do is change my titles. So I'm going to go to Chart Title, and at the top, I think I'd rather just call it Accuracy and Precision Lab. And it should change it, and sure enough it does. If you accidentally click out of that, this little three dots at the top will allow you to go to Edit Chart, which gets you back to Setup and Customize. Once I've gotten my title done, I need to do my axis titles. So under Chart and Axis Titles, I go to the same drop-down menu, and now I pick Horizontal Axis, and I want the thrower to be on my horizontal axis. So I'm going to call that thrower. I'm going to click off, and sure enough, thrower appears right there. Now I want to go to vertical axis, and under vertical axis, I want that to be distance from the bullseye in centimeters, right? I've got 0, 5, 10, 15, but if I don't put a label there, it doesn't tell people what that actually is. The last thing I want to do is, you don't have to do this, this graph is functional as it is, but the last thing I want to do is go in and beautify it, right? There's a couple things we can and can't do when beautifying a graph. We want to make our graph easy to read. That's the goal, right? So if I go to Series, I have some options. I could change the entire background of this graph to hot pink, but I don't want to do that. That makes it harder to read. What I can do, though, is take my series and make it Canon colors, so like Mrs. Stratton did. So if I hit Series, pick the series I want, and then I want to go to gold, and then I want my other one to be purple. And that's it. That's how we create a graph. Thanks, guys.